Sonia ji, Hassan ji, Rekhan ji, friends, it's an honor for me to speak to you today. I'll start, I think, where Karan Singh ji left off. Karan Singh ji said that Pandit ji was a guru. And I think you meant it in the traditional sense. Some years back we had this conference, the Gandhi conference. And a number of leaders from African countries had come. And one of them walked up to me and he said, well, young man, I want to speak to you. So I said, yes, tell me, what would you like to say? He says, I don't remember the country it was, but he says, I'm the vice president of one of the African countries. And tomorrow morning, I want you to meet some of my friends. So I said, okay. So next morning, he came with 4 or 5 of his friends, and one of them was vice president, one of them was finance minister, one of them, all very, very senior people in African countries. And then they said, now, I would like you to tell me what is common between all of us. So I said, well, you're all from African countries. And they said, no. What is common between all of us is that we all studied in India. And every single one of us used to have breakfast with your great-grandfather, and he taught us politics. And that is why we are where we are today. So I was quite amazed by his ability to reach out and touch people. These were not special students. They were not students who were famous. They were just students, African students studying in India. And he just came and gave them a little bit of gyan. And there was a tremendous impact. I think when we look at Nehru ji, we tend to, and I do it, but we tend to think about him in terms of his ideas. Secularism, democracy. I think that's a very important way to look at him. But there's another way to look at him, which is that he was, on one hand, political awareness. So he had the ability to go very, very deep into the politics of this country. On the other hand, he was historical awareness. So he could go very, very deep into the history, but not get trapped by the history, not get caught up by the history, like many of our friends. And whichever ideas he used and operated with, he was always able to see them for what they really were. He was able to adapt and he was able to move forward. There was no fossilization that was taking place at all. You know, I meet many young people and they have very, very set ideas. They know exactly what they want to do. They know exactly what is going to happen. They understand India. They understand everything. I think Mahatma Gandhi ji and Jawaharlal ji would never claim to understand India. They might claim that I am attempting to understand India. They might claim that I am trying to understand India. But I don't think they ever had the arrogance to think that they understand it and they have all the answers. And I think that is a very, very powerful thing, that they didn't actually believe that they have got it. There was no final milestone. It was a journey. And if you read both their writings, you will get this distinct sense that for them, India was much bigger than they could ever be. India was much more intelligent, powerful, understanding, compassionate than they could ever be. And I think both those leaders who I admire, if you take the central thread, the central thread is compassion. That whatever they did, whatever they spoke about, whether it was secularism, democracy, non-alignment, it was always about respect for people, listening to people, understanding people, and never riding roughshod over anybody. And I think that is a very, very great lesson that they teach us. I'd like to thank the speakers and all our friends, Congress President, for coming here today. All the best. Thank you.
నిరంతరంగా ఈ 3.5 సంవత్సరాల నుంచి ఒక కుటుంబంగా మనందరం పనిచేసుకునే అవకాశం కలగడమే కాకుండా అందరికీ ఉపయోగపడే విధంగా